Good evening, everyone. While they set up the chairs for the panelists, so we're going to keep this really quick. I'll do the introductions rather than have each one of the panelists or do the introductions. The company that I co-founded with Shekhar Kapoor and A.R. Rahman is about video. In fact, we have this famous, I shouldn't be saying famous, it's blowing our own trumpet, but what we believe is that the World Wide Web is becoming the worldwide video web. So we call dub 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 becoming dub dub vdub. The second thing that we believe in, which is very relevant for this entire industry, is the decentralization of influencers and of the internet. And Armaan Malik is a destination by himself, whether you find him on YouTube or you find him on Smule or you find him on if you follow him on Snapchat or Instagram, Armaan Malik is a destination. The apps are the satellites around him. And that's what I mean by the decentralized internet. And so the .com model about finding him on one place has moved on. And so also with that example for a lot of indie artists. And we have Armaan coming up on the panel, which is awesome. And we also have an indie artist coming up on the panel. Yvan, come on over. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Yvan back on stage. We have Keshav Dhar from Skyharbor. Keshav, come on over. We have Kailash Adhikari, the promoter of Shri Adhikari Brothers and representing Masti, the music channel. Saurabh Sharma from Smule. Raise your hands, all of you who've used Smule or know of Smule. Come on, you got to see more hands than that. That's doing millions of daily installs. Okay, and we have Armaan Malik. Armaan, come on over. What you'll see over here is we've got a consumer-facing app, which is Smule. We're going to juxtapose some of those views on direct-to-consumer or direct-to-fan engagement with Masti, which is, going by the numbers, the largest music channel in the country. And so how do they reach out to audiences on TV and maintain those audiences on TV versus how an app does it? So very interesting sort of segues into each other. We've got a independent artist, Keshav, and you'll be blown away by how they've raised money for some of their videos. How many artists in this group here? Right? Let me ask you a quick question. What do you think, how many of you have used crowdfunding as a platform to raise money for your videos? Anybody? Try to win Vishkari, right? Now, what do you think, if I told you that you could raise 2 lakhs on a crowdfunding platform for your video, would you be excited? What if you could raise 20 lakhs for your video? That's what this gentleman did here for his band. So we'll hear that story. 20 lakhs for his music video on a crowdfunding platform with Indians contributing using credit cards. So let's very interesting story there. Kailash will, of course, speak about the whole TV side we discussed. And, we have Yvan talking about connecting all of this with the data units. And Armaan, obviously, speaking from the mainstream artist side, how it is working with brands and how, he's got like 4 million fans on Insta, Armaan, and 6 million on Facebook, something like that. Just 10 million on those two. It's good enough. Okay, yeah. Awesome. So, maybe Saurabh, we can start with you. And if you can just share with the group here, what is it, the 3 things that Smule has done, and Smule is a karaoke app, right? And you're the first India head representative for Smule.
We call it as a music community.
A music community, okay.
Yeah. So what we have done, we are a user-uploaded content platform, and Smule started as a, like any other digital product, started probably last year in India, and we have seen more than 7 million monthly active users until today, and which is growing.
This is 7 million just from India?
Just from India.
Monthly active users on Smule?
Monthly active users, yes.
Fantastic.
And that accounts for around 11%. We are close to 60 million worldwide monthly active users.
Okay.
And from India itself, just to give you perspective, around 4 to 5 terabytes of content getting uploaded almost on daily basis.
4 to 5 terabytes?
Yes.
So that's, 1,000 MB making a gig, 1,000 gigs making a terabyte? Is that the math? And so you've got 5 terabytes of video content that are getting... So
on daily basis from India.
Fantastic, okay.
And it's all user uploaded.
But tell us, what are you doing to get this engagement? What took off?
Okay.
When did you have this surge of growth, or did you have a surge of growth?
Yes, of course. So we did a gig with Armaan recently, and that gave us a surge, probably better engagement than even our organic channels. So Armaan sang one of his recent song, Teherja.
Armaan, what did you do? What was the secret?
So I was aware of the app. I was aware of Smule as an app. I had never used it before this collaboration happened. Right. And I'm glad that, Gurpreet sir from One Digital, Saurabh, and from Smule, and all of us got together and we collaborated on a very interesting integration with the app there was a song of mine, Therja, from the movie October.
Right.
And so just before I did the collaboration, we also did a small video on my YouTube channel. And coinciding with that release, I also did a version where I was singing and my fans could sing along with me. Right. So for my fans, I think that was really special. And when I went onto the app, I saw the comments and the replies, and I saw that so many of my fans were already on Smule and I didn't know about it. So I explored a whole new fan base altogether on Smule who were already doing karaoke's of my own songs and I didn't know about it. So I'm glad that it was a different avenue for me to explore as well.
So how many sort of collabs did you get? Did I miss that number?
We are close to 18,000 collabs. So
on just Armaan's song?
Yeah, so that says around 18,000 users who spend close to 20 minutes each working. So that kind of engagement plus your plays and likes, and those are like in lakhs right now. And it's just been like 3 weeks.
It's just been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Got it. So what else, anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we move on in terms of what would be a breakthrough consumer-facing engagement activity?
I think breakthrough consumer-facing engagement would be Smule as a platform to identify talent as well, which we are working on, working with few of the music composers, especially down south. We have started this kind of engagement where they are selecting the next, when they are looking for the new singers. Smule is a platform which can evaluate your singing on an automated basis. That helps them a lot. Like,
is it fine-tuned for Indian, your surtal and harkat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Versus Western music?
Yeah, so the master track is uploaded and all the melodies extracted, and that serves as a benchmark, and whoever sings on it is getting rated.
Was the interesting question, let me put you on the spot here. You did something for Indian Idol.
Yes, we did.
What was the engagement on that versus what you did with Armaan? I'm guessing Armaan's blew that out of the water.
Yeah, Armaan's was higher, of course. In Indian Idol, we used the user-generated content, around 40 odd songs.
Right.
So engagement was still very high, better than our organic channel, but unlike Armaan, because Armaan, people know him, people like to sing. The gratification the user gets singing with an artist is actually
but
higher.
That was the point that I was referring to. Indian Idol is a massive property. It's a global property as Idol. One would think, maybe 2 years ago, the Indian Idol would blow the metrics out of the water, but I'm sure there would be a massive difference between the two. Awesome. So let me, Kailash, just moving to you. Masti, as you were sharing with us backstage, was the largest music channel by the metrics. What would be with the whole advent of digital consumption, and as Yvan said, music is now watched, and you don't listen to music, you watch music. And that's obviously direct competition with TV. And so a lot of people like to talk about how TV is going to kill, digital is going to kill video and TV. And I'm not certainly, a proponent of that theory, but let me hear, how's it been with massive video growth in India? Have you seen declines in consumption on music?
Not at all. I mean, the whole debate of TV versus digital, I believe that it should be TV and digital, because both have their own equal strengths. Like TV is in conventional medium, yes, digital is the new medium, but they both play on different strengths of it. Like TV has a much wider reach when it comes to the rural areas, and yes, music is by far, yes, on digital, it is the highest consumed category when you talk, and it's about on YouTube, out of the 100 most videos used to, 94 out of 100 is about music. And that I believe that TV and digital together shall increase the consumption of music in a particular market. So I believe that they are not, it's about not being enemies, they're brothers in arms together, as we just discussed, being that the entire consumption of music together is increasing, and I'll also include radio in it. Because there are certain patterns that if you're at a particular place where TV is not able to reach, the distribution will be better than through digital. Or if you're in a car, if you're driving, then radio. But if you're at home and if you just need time with your family, then there's television. And we see in the West that even though there's great amount of digital there, but TV has not died. So TV still is a predominant medium, and notwithstanding the fact that digital is growing, radio is there, I believe that they all together are catering to a large chunk of consumers. And it's about, at the palette of the consumers, what they want to choose. At a particular time, it's TV, it's digital.
So what would the, but you would say categorically that TRPs haven't declined with the growth of video consumption for music. You're seeing growth in consumption, especially in the hinterland, in the smaller towns and cities, or is this growing even in the urban areas?
No, in both. So we have not seen any kind of declines in terms of absolute number of viewerships. Okay. Like a channel like Masti does about 120 million, reduced out to 120 million viewership in about a month's time, and that has not degrown because of digital growth. Yep. So we see that there's a cohesive growth, and consumers are wanting each and every medium as per their liking and their situations.
So I think this is a really interesting point because I think nowhere else in the world, a lot of times India gets compared with China in growth metrics. And this is one metric that I've seen when you engage with anybody from China, that they're very conscious of the fact nobody has seen video growth like the way we're seeing in the country. This is one segment that has actually outpaced, usually the analysts always over-predict the future. In this particular instance, nobody had predicted the scale of growth of video in India. And the fact that TV is going along with that is a great sign of the fact of the consumerism, consumer interest in just consuming all of this, that the entire tide is rising and not just sort of, it's not, certainly not getting into the cannibalization mode. So that's awesome to hear from the industry perspective. Keshav, tell us about this 20 lakhs you raised for one song, man. That's just breakthrough.
Okay, so
what did you do?
Song. It wasn't for one song. It was for an entire album.
Okay.
But out of that, essentially we were at a point where we had released one record already, which was in 2012. It did moderately well. A lot of things fell into place, happened to be at the right place at the right time. The kind of music that we were playing happened to just start getting really popular around the world. And I think, we sort of inadvertently caught that wave. But we then reached a point where we had to make a second record. And we were like, okay, we need to up the production value on this, take it a step forward from just being like me in my bedroom mixing it on my own, right, on headphones, which works to a certain level. Nowadays, the technology is all there. Anyone can do it. But, to really put something forward that's really professional and, well packaged, you have to start enlisting outside help. So, and obviously this requires funds, which we didn't have. Neither did the little independent label that we were on at the time. They didn't have it either. So their suggestion was just go direct to the fans, crowdfund it. Crowdfunding in 2013-14 was still...
I just want to add, so you actually had a label relationship. The label relationship didn't come in the way of you going through crowdfunding. The label was supportive of actually you going to crowdfunding. There wasn't any shame in saying, I have a label backing me, but I'm still going to go and crowdfund it.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, this I would say is something that's a little unusual, because a lot of times you see people who are crowdfunding their product do not have any kind of backing whatsoever.
Right.
So in our case, what the label would do for us is they would do PR, they would distribute, but they wouldn't really give us any money as far as creating the product goes, which has its own advantages. You get to keep your masters, you own all your recordings, you own literally everything. The label doesn't own any of your intellectual property or the recordings themselves. But on the flip side, of course, the initial capital for putting the product together has to come from somewhere. So they were quite receptive of the idea. They said, you know what, go for it. We did it on this website called Pledge.
How many of you know Pledge Music? Raise your hands. Nobody? Yeah, well, so Pledge Music is where all this all went. How many people actually from India? So I believe about 1,800 or 2,000 people contributed 20 lakhs,
yes.
which is about 1,000 rupees per person.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. And a lot of them came from India?
About, 35-40% of them were from India, yes.
Okay. All right.
So I think what really worked for us is beyond just offering, you put in 1,000 rupees and you get the album, which is obvious. But we identified what all skill sets we had besides just the creating and performing of the music itself. And we were like, okay, let's try and put this into, incentives for people to pledge.
Yeah, talk about that. Just list it out. So just in the interest of time, what are the 2-3 things that you offered consumers that got them to fund it?
Okay, so for example, our singer at the time was a vocal coach. So we offered a vocal training bundle. So it's like you pledge so-and-so, you get the album, you also get a 1-hour vocal lesson with our singer.
How much did you have to pledge to get the vocal training lesson?
The combined cost of the whole thing was, I think, 200 pounds. Something
200
like that.
pounds is about 2 grand, roughly. 2,000 rupees to get a...
200 pounds is was about 20 grand at the time.
20 grand, sorry. 20 grand to get a vocal training lesson.
A vocal training lesson, but it wasn't just one. It was like a series.
Got it, okay.
Plus the album itself. Then,
what else?
Yeah, so then I run a DIY studio at home, which has since expanded. But I would offer a thing like, if you are an artist yourself, I will mix your song for you. So that's another bundle that we offered. We offered little personalized things like handwritten lyric sheets, on really nice pieces of paper. We would write it out with a calligraphic pen, for example. That personalizes it. So this is not just the product, as well as, say, a picture of yourself with your signature on it. It's other things that which are a little unusual, which you wouldn't necessarily see everywhere.
Is it fair to say that this is people tend to offer, but something special happened on this that was not... Did you expect to raise this much? You went over your expectations,
We went
right?
over, yes. So the target that we set was 15,000 pounds, which was like 6,000 for the video, 4,000 for production and for the mixing, and 5,000 for incidentals and for fulfillment, you know. Manufacturing CDs, shipping them out. I mean, we obviously have to keep a budget for that. But we ended up making 21,000 pounds, which at the time was about 20 lakhs-ish. So I think it's important that you set your target a little conservatively so that, you know, if you go over, it looks a lot better. You know, it's always better to sell out a smaller venue than it is to have, say, 500 people in like a 3,000 cap arena.
And you kept this on for 6 months, which is unusual. Usually
Yes,
people keep it on for like a month or something.
Yeah, yeah. So we were promoting it over time because, well, 6 months till the album release, but also it's like this video that we were making was going to take a long time. It was going to take 2 months to put together. You know, it involved like creating a set, creating puppets, animating them, you know, and it wasn't even like animation in the traditional sense. It was literally like, you know how you have traditional puppetry shows?
Right.
So it was
That
like,
was the main video.
So it was, all the puppets were controlled with wires. You can see them in the video actually if you watch the film. And we deliberately didn't take it out on purpose. Because essentially what we were trying to do is do something that isn't being, that, you know, is straying from the norm at the time.
So you raised 20 lakhs, but you put about 6 lakhs of that into one video.
Yeah.
That was the lead video for the album, which makes sense. Now, Armaan, tell me, Yvan, just want to ask Armaan one related question to this.
Okay.
For an artist who's broken out like yourself, do you think you'd find it somewhat challenging to go out and crowdfund something because you have the backing of one or more labels, you've reached a certain stature, but if you want to do your indie stuff, are the labels always open to fund the stuff that you want to do versus the Bollywood films?
I mean, you're asking, would I do a crowdfunding
Yeah.
thing?
Would you look at crowdfunding, or would that be not so cool for you to do now?
Probably if you've reached a stage, people don't see you in that light. People associate that with up and coming musicians or artists. I don't want to say that, you know, it's a wrong thing or it's damaging myself as an artist, but
Yeah, but you'd eat their lunch. If you came onto the platform and started asking for money, you think that would actually go away from the indie
no,
artist, right?
But if I was definitely, you know, because the indie scene in India has been suppressed by Bollywood, that I must, you know, say
I've
that.
got to give it to him, man, to say that. Okay.
I
As an
kind
artist.
of, because there's a lot of musical geniuses in our country who don't get the outlet to come out. Like Keshav himself. But, you know, there are such amazing bands, such amazing artists, but they're not getting the outlet because all that consumers are consuming are Bollywood. Like for me, example, I wanted to do an album. I came out, you know it, I came out with an album first on Universal Music. My first debut album, it was called Armaan. But it just so happened that I needed Bollywood to come with it to give it weight. Because otherwise, if it would come, it would just like go unnoticed. Parallelly, I had this song in Jai Ho, which was featuring Salman Khan, and that gave me a considerable amount of push, and that's how my album also got noticed. But having said that, more of my Bollywood content is more famous than the indie content, which I want to change. I, as an artist, I think it's very important that non-film music becomes as it is becoming. Actually, if you see, the artists are doing videos, doing non-film music parallelly to Bollywood music, and it's going to become huge. When it comes to the crowdfunding thing, I don't think I would do that, but I'm like blessed enough with the amount of shows that I'm doing. I can use that to you know, make my own videos and indie stuff, and I have a great team, One Digital, helping me with that. So I would like to take this opportunity to really congratulate Keshav on what he did, because it's really brave to do something like that. And in a country where indie music is not consumed as much as Bollywood, I'm really happy that something like this has happened.
Fantastic. And the outcome of this, Keshav, is that you actually got signed up by a bigger label that now was representing Snoop Dogg and does, and then now you're signed to them. What's the name of the label?
Entertainment One. Yvan,
Okay,
for short.
got it.
That's what
Fantastic.
they're called.
So, Yvan, quickly, you've heard both sides of this. Now, we talked about, the great thing about digital is that it democratizes the search for talent, but it's also an abyss. So you can put out stuff and never get discovered. You've already shared some of your thoughts with the group here. What is it that you can do from a data perspective that you think, how do you growth hack your way into being discovered from this black abyss into emerging on the top? Are there some real strategies that people can deploy?
So first of all, data, again, is just a tool, right? It has not to take decision for you. And the thing is that you need to be really focused on your path, like what is core and essential to you, and understand what are the levers that can amplify what you do right. Like everything you do, D2F is nothing if you don't get to the next stage, and data can be the thing it will not help you to get to your audience if you don't manage to identify the influencers, the medias, the platforms that are beneficial for you. So more about understanding where your fans, the next one can be, not just only fight for the one that you already know. And then I guess it's also all about to get the right people with you, like the managers, the labels, the publishers, to help you in the process, because otherwise I guess you're going to spend your day crunching data, and I think it's going to be really sad for you. But saying that, some quick wins. Radio, it's supposed to be dead. It's not. If you take some platforms like Warm, it's a Danish company, they do radio airplay tracking globally at artist level. So a single artist, an individual artist can pay for one song to be tracked globally. And they can then, now, it was not possible like 2 years ago, spot where the song is played or similar songs. Then they can understand, for instance, hey, this out of my town, out of my region, out of my country, there is it resonates somewhere. Then I need people on the ground, like real people, to do the promo. So my advice here is connect data as a decision making with real people doing a real job, promo, marketing, touring, real life. Because otherwise, if you are data driven only, it's not that easy. And second thing, think about programmatic advertising as something key to the future. So you get the essence of your core fan. So if you take a pyramid like this, you have your top fan at the top, the one who they can I don't know, spend 2 days without sleeping to get a ticket to your show. There will be like behind you advocates, like super fans. You have the active fans, and the passive ones. The most important one are the one on the bottom. If you want to get to the top.
Can you break that down in percentages? So the top fans are maybe 5%?
I think they're more like 10 or 5 depending on the artist. The bigger you got, the more you get on top.
Yes.
Then it's more like 20, and
Right.
the bottom is like the average is everyone.
Yes.
The one who will get hooked by your song on the radio, by your face on the TV, by a recommendation through YouTube in a playlist that you will never expect by accident, you will cross his way. And its song resonates with you because it has been brought to you by YouTube, because it's supposed to be in the same genre.
Just quickly a segue into that. How important is the YouTube strategy in this the discovery process? Would you say it's the number one thing to do?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
YouTube is the evil and paradise in the meantime. It's like
Gurpreet, you and I know the right business.
It's like heaven and hell. It's value gap, yes, but if you take urban music and not, you're not death metal, but metal, I'm a metal head.
Yeah.
For engage genre music is really super key, and so you need to think about your image. In the meantime, you think about your song, and in the meantime, you need to think as a YouTuber. YouTubers, they look at every stats in the CMS, so the tool of YouTube. They answer to every comment on their video. So YouTube for them is not like just, hey, I'm going to put my video out there. It's a connection. It's a channel.
Armaan, do you still answer your comments on YouTube?
I do. I definitely do.
You don't have Gurpreet's team doing that for you?
No.
Okay, awesome. So just highlight one thing that oftentimes in the direct-to-consumer piece, people tend to assume that when I'm going direct-to-consumer, I'm going to remove the middleman in the process. And the middleman over here could be someone who's catalyzing this and making this more seamless to the fans. So could you give your view on, does direct-to-consumer mean that there is no agent in between, or does the agent's role become even more important in digital?
So I used to be the middleman in the room. As I was Warner Music, and not the good guy, as you can imagine. When I was joining a tech conference, developer conferences, I was like, oh, I'm the evil out there. Yep. Because we were supposed to be gatekeepers, keeping the rights.
Right.
And also because labels, they don't explain that much what they bring to the table. And this is something that needs to change. They need to explain what they bring as a service, as a platform. So, and to be more specific, yes, Radiohead, they came in 10 years ago with this brilliant idea of like giving away the album for free and letting the people choose the price.
Right.
But they were not, they didn't achieve to come to this point of their career without EMI. Like blood, sweat and tears, pushing them on stage, putting them to media. I think promotion, if you take the value chain, so creation, production, promotion, and distribution, promotion is still super key. And eventually, when we talk about 50 million tracks, you gotta be backed with someone doing like promotion, get you out of the noise, emerge from the mass, because it's pretty not yet data-driven, all of that stuff. You cannot do by yourself.
So I'm just going to, sorry I have to rush you. So net, you'd say the role of the middleman or the agent is more important or less important than before?
It's more important for the amplification phase.
For the amplification, okay, fantastic.
You don't need them at the beginning. For the production, you don't need them anymore. For creative art, no. To get to your core fan, no. But if you want to get it big and international, you better be...
Fantastic, thank you. So I want to spend the next couple of minutes, and maybe Kailash, we can start with you. Music and brands are connected at the core, I think, because as brands try to reach out to audiences online, one of the safest ways to do that is music. I think comedy is the other approach. But with comedy, to really connect online, you need to play on the edge, on the fringes of making it slightly edgy, and that can go either way, for a brand. But music seems to be the safe harbor as far as that's. How much of your model? I'm guessing for TV, the advertising piece is really the entire pie, and for the digital artist, it's not quite the same. Of course, someone like Armaan's done some major brand deals, etc. But otherwise, it's not a big part of what you earn. The tubers that we work with, our job is to make the YouTube earnings maybe less than 20% of their lives and amplify the other stuff around it. So how important are brands to you, and what is the one big thing that you've done with brands in the last 1 year?
So as you rightly said, that advertising is the biggest thing when it comes to broadcast medium, but it's about time till television and broadcast also achieves when it comes to brand engagements. Right. And when I specifically speak of music, yes, music has that power to emote certain kind of, to speak certain kind of emotions, be it relaxation, excitement, joy. And that I will give an example of an Heineken beer. It always used some kind of obscure song to tell to the consumer that Heineken's consumer is some person who is young and a vibrant person altogether. So TV, yes, brands are engaging in a different format, and we have seen that because music is a particular sector wherein on a particular music channel in a broadcast medium, you have certain day parts. And like for a music channel, the morning prime time is like the core, where it actually gets the primary of the audience. That's the prime time of a music channel. And you have brands, like we have had
How does that morning prime time compare with the GC at 7 or 8 p.m., main prime time, the build up to a GC at about 7 p.m. compared to the 9 a.m. prime time for music? How would you stack the two up?
We have seen by statistics that the 9 a.m. prime time of music sometimes has more viewership than the early prime time of a general entertainment channel. And for brands, that's the best thing because you have the duplicable audience there. So the kind of audience that would see a GEC in an early prime time that's the same audience that views music in that early prime time.
In scale, they're similar. 9 a.m. music is similar to GEC at 7 p.m.
The early GEC, yes.
Got it. But how would you compare the ad rates for a GEC at 7 p.m. versus the 9 a.m. prime time for a music channel? Are they similar then? Because the data would suggest that the CPRPs or the cost per rating point, if they're similar, the brand money should be the same. I'm guessing that's not happening.
That's not happening, yes, true. Because that's the industry how it functions. Because for a GEC, they have different cutouts altogether as compared to various other categories.
To that? Has anyone ever offered you logic to that?
No one has ever offered logic to that. But I believe that it's time that it's about pushing. And maybe one fine day we will not have that discussion. Maybe we'll be at parity. But at a certain time, yes, because they have their certain budgets cut out for GEC, and there's a different benchmarking done for that as compared to on other channels.
Now, very soon, people watching stuff on digital is going to equal the GEC piece, right? And in some cases, maybe bigger already, but I think we're still some time to get there. And so that's going to be interesting because we always see this disconnect for how many people from the agencies or brands over here? Are there a bunch of folks here? Not too many. I wish, this is something that we keep battling with, just the logic of these things. So, Armaan, talk about, you've done some cool stuff with Amazon. You did that, you did one with Shirley and Clinton on Cadbury. What were those experiences like? Did you find the brand to sort of trying to control it too much, or did you have your fair share of being able to do things? How did that come about with Amazon and Cadbury?
So it also depends on the artist, what kind of brand he also wants to associate with.
Sure.
And how much he can, like for me, when I work with a brand, I also see how it is true to me as an artist. I'm not going to do something that is great for the brand only. It's supposed to be good for the artist as well. Because when fans see me, they don't want to look at me as someone who does stuff only for, branding or for money or stuff like that. I want to see them see me as a genuine artist. Right. So when I'm doing something like Cadbury, I was doing a song and we were doing a musical kind of a piece. If you've seen the video, it was me and Shirley in the video. Yes, so it's like a mini music video while promoting the Cadbury chocolate. Yep. So it's not direct promotion of just the chocolate. It's giving that gratification to the fan that, you know, I'm seeing Armaan and Shirley in music video and I'm getting a new song to consume
So in the
as well.
space of what we tend to call content marketing, it's not an ad, because an ad nobody wants to watch, but if it's in the space of content marketing, it works, right? And the same thing on your Ghar Se Nikalte video.
Yeah,
for
Ghar Se
Amazon.
Nikalte, again we did a in film, in video branding where in the starting of the video I use it as a device to play the song and then I go on with the video. So it's very cool how the brands look at it is they definitely look at how much social media engagement you have as an artist.
Right.
Because that's the reason that they come in the first place, because they want to see that there are numbers on Armaan's platform, that we can come to these many fans, these many consumers if we do something like this.
So it's interesting though, right? Because you had you and Shirley, big social cloud for both of you put together. The Cadbury video is about few million views, 6 million views maybe, or something in that range.
On YouTube, yeah. On
YouTube?
Instagram, it has like around, it's almost reaching 9 lakh views on Instagram. So
900K on Instagram.
Yeah.
But the Ghar Se Nikalte is over 55 million
55
views.
million, yeah.
What's the difference between the two? Is the label sort of the agent or the middleman that Yvan was referring to, the amplification, is that all T-Series making the difference there? Or do you think the content was just different and that's resulting in a 10x
asking the difference between the Cadbury and the
Ghar Se Nikalte Amazon,
So Ghar Se Nikalte is more of a single based around me as an artist, and Cadbury is an ad jingle kind of a thing. Ghar Se Nikalte was a single in which the placement of the brand was just for a few seconds, first minute of the video. And the main focus is on me and my song and the single.
Do you know if any of those views were marketed?
In which one?
In Ghar Se Nikalte, out of the 55 million views, do you know if that was pushed or was that completely organic?
I mean, if you see...
There's nothing wrong, by the way. This is not a trick question, because I think promotions, a lot of times artists think that promoting a video is bad, buying fake views is bad, but buying legit views, targeted, programmatic, is the smartest thing to do to get you amplification.
But there are Google AdWords, there are those
yeah.
avenues in which you use to amplify the video.
Yeah.
So I sit very actively on my content. There is Shivam from T-Series who
So Ghar Se Nikalte launched on T-Series or your channel?
It's on T-Series.
It's on T-Series. So that's a massive
if you see T-Series' subscriber base itself, it is almost reached 50 million subscribers if I'm not wrong. So they have a huge subscriber base which automatically will get a lot of views on it.
Got it.
And definitely there are avenues like Google AdWords, there are Facebook boosts also that you do. But sometimes Facebook doesn't work because they don't promote YouTube links as much as they do their own Facebook videos.
Got it.
We know that.
Keshav, I know you haven't done stuff with brands. Saurabh, I'm just going to open it up to questions because I can see Abrajita circling here. Do we have any questions? I think we are about 3 minutes over, keeping this tight. If there are any questions, we can take maybe 2 at best, 3 questions. Any questions for Armaan? Or, yeah, go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Anubhav Nath. My question is addressed to
Anupam Nath from?
From PTC channel.
Okay.
My question is addressed to Mr. Kailash Nath. The only thing common is...
Kailash Adhikari, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Or Keshav?
We were talking about this morning, early morning time ban, which is considered as prime for music channels. We also own a music channel per se, but most of the numbers are contributed without advertising breaks. So are we able to commercialize when we look at this early prime and we're comparing it with the GC prime time? So I think there is a question mark there. Are we able to commercialize those time bands? Because unless you play non-F cities onto those time bands, you're not able to monetize those time bands. And most of the advertisers look at those avenues after minusing those numbers actually. What's your take?
Thank you for your question. Yes, we are able to monetize that. And it's not that it is not monetizable. I mean, it depends upon each and every channel strategy. Like at Masti, we are able to monetize that. It depends upon certain channels. If they want to have a complete break-free hours, everyone has their own share of break-free hours, and it depends upon individual strategy, how they want to monetize that particular hour. And it depends upon your proper mix of distribution and content that will actually have the time spent on your channel that you wish to have. And that is, of course, there's a prime time which you need to cater at, but there's an entire day part also to a particular channel. And I don't see that. It's just a matter of how you go back to your drawing board and strategize to monetize that particular part.
Is it breakless on your channels? Does it work as breakless on your channels as in terms of Masti? The early
yes,
time
certain hours, yes.
Okay, any other questions? Yes.
Hi, I'm Pooja from Pune. I wanted to ask Keshav, congratulations on your magnanimous success. I mean, I've only read about this and heard about it. I'm very lucky to witness it. Because I tried, putting a campaign on Wishberry for my upcoming project. I work as a production house, and after I'd broken all my mutual funds and all my life insurance to fund my TV shows, I realized I'm bankrupt and I don't have a money tree at home. So when I tried to put up a campaign on Wishberry, my campaign just wouldn't go through. I don't know what was the issue. So could you tell me a little bit more about this crowdfunding platform that you've used to raise such huge funds?
Pooja, I had a 10-minute chat.
Is that the pledge?
So you should take it offline with him. It's on Pledge Music, but there are a lot of, the real answer to that is a lot of attention to detail, which I'm sure he won't be able to share right now. So if you can connect
I'll have a
with him
chat
offline.
with you afterwards, sure.
You must,
Thanks for that.
There's a lot of learning over there.
Samir, did we focus on fan engagement? I think we missed out
On
that
fan
point.
engagement? No, all of this is fan engagement. Doing that stuff that you did on Smule with the 20,000 videos is all about fan engagement.
No, what he pointed out, being YouTube is a big. I wanted to talk a little bit on that, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many artists focus on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, but what they should also focus on, especially for music artists, is to do YouTube. They have to focus on YouTube and being consistent on that. I'm also learning that the hard way.
It is the hardest thing to do, right? Being consistent on that, especially when you've got Bollywood going and other stuff going, it's damn tough.
Being consistent is very important, but YouTube is a really, really big space, because I've seen when I do a YouTube video, there's also a spike in my social media numbers. Because when people see a YouTube video, they want to see, okay, who's this guy? Let's check him out. Not only is it beneficial for your YouTube subscribers, but it's also beneficial for your
Absolutely. And when you're doing YouTube, you're building your own asset. When you're doing Bollywood, you're renting yourself out for somebody else's asset.
Many people
that's
also,
the big difference.
Many people ask me, you're doing Bollywood songs, you're doing big Bollywood film songs. So why do you need to focus on YouTube? I said I love focusing on YouTube because it connects me to the new consumers. There are new youth every day. There's like 13, 14-year-olds going on YouTube checking out who's a new artist. And sometimes they might not know me. They might know me with this new video that I've just put out. And many of them also ask me why I do covers. I must say one thing, like if you want to start, for all the budding artists, they ask me, how do we begin with creating that fan base like how big artists have created for themselves? The first thing is to definitely ride on a few covers, because that's where you get the eyeballs from. When you take a popular song which is just released and you do a cover on that, so many of the fans of those songs land up on your video.
Yeah, and that's part of the growth hacking, right? Doing those cover tracks helps you get found in the algorithm.
And then once you have that subscriber base, then you feed them one original song, and then they will listen to that original song, and that's where your artistry, that's where you become bigger from there on.
Yes, totally.
That's what I believe.
Thank you for that.
That was bang on.
Yeah, and I will add on that, never do anything by default.
Yeah, it's a unique strategy that works for the individual person, and it's different for each person.
So don't go on Instagram and you don't feel it and you have nothing to share that can resonate with your audience, or you don't feel it as an artist because your image is not core to what you do.
Absolutely.
The best ones, like the one I've been working on with, like everything they do is pretty bunch of work, and when they go to Instagram, they do it like on purpose, and they have an identity image that it's declined. It's about transmedia, let's say, the big word, but it's also about consistency and work. It's a work. And be true to yourself.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Big hand to the panelists. Thank you very much.